What is going on, everybody? It is January the 3rd, and that means it's time for my News Radar. All right, let's get rid of this thing right here before we get started. Let's talk a little bit about something that's pretty cool to me. So way back when, in the early 2000s-ish, something like that, when I was rocking a phone called the Samsung Galaxy S3, there was something that most Android people, that's not true. There was something that a lot of Android people, and a lot of like techie people loved to do with their Android devices, and that was called rooting. If you're an iOS and iPhone person, you might call it jailbreaking, but it's about the same thing. And I know people still root their devices and they still do cool things with them. We're going to talk about one of those things right now, but mostly today, people don't seem to be rooting as much as they used to. I know that I don't. Most of the stuff that I would root a phone to be able to do, I can just do at this point with stock Android, but there are still some big reasons why you would want to root a phone. And one of the reasons I loved having my Galaxy S3 rooted, which, fun fact, I did not own another Samsung phone from that S3 all the way to my Z Fold 2. That was a long break from Samsung before coming back to that brand for a little while. But one of the reasons I loved having that thing rooted was that I could continue updating it after Samsung wasn't anymore. So rooted, I could install something called CyanogenMod, which was basically these developers took stock Android, a newer build of Android that was available for me. They got rid of TouchWiz, which, was it TouchWiz back then? I'm not sure. But they got rid of all the Samsung bloat because they were horrible for that back then. They actually got worse than that later. And they replaced it with stock, vanilla, clean Android with upgrades, basically almost like a Pixel experience. Really great stuff. And you can just install that bad boy right there on your S3 and keep right on a rolling. And that's what I did. They used that phone for a long time because of that. And that tradition is still strong today because via XDA developers, Samsung Galaxy S9 and Note 9 can now run Android 12 via the same means. This is absolutely awesome. So for those of you that may still be, I mean, look, the Note 9 was a great phone. So maybe you're still rocking that thing and you can go and install Aero OS and be running a cool build of Android 12 on a phone that is way older than it should be able to run Android 12 with. But there it is. It can still do it. And look at Aero OS. It's clean. It looks good. I mean, it's, you're going to have some customizations in there to make things work better, but this is actually an Android 12 version for your Note 9. This is really, really neat. I wish that this sort of developer community had grown up around Surface Duo and things like that. You'd think that it would. There are some bubblings of some developers getting their hands on some Duos and doing some cool stuff, but that's not really happened yet. Maybe one day it will. We can all hope. Now, I know I've already banged on and on about Android 11 on Surface Duo until you're probably all sick of hearing about it. But I do want to give one more little piece here. Because as we all know, it is now January the 3rd, and Android 11 is still not available on Surface Duo. Let's check here real quick for posterity. Yeah, no Android 11 on Surface Duo 1 still as of yet. And this was something that we all hoped would happen. This is something that they said they were trying to do, and for many different reasons, it has not panned out. And look, we can make all kinds of excuses about why it didn't happen. We can say, hey, it looks like Microsoft sent it to Google for certification in late November, early December, and then Google was on holiday, so it didn't get certified. So it's not really Microsoft's fault. It is Microsoft's fault because it took them one calendar year to get it sent through to cert. But bigger than all of this, so there's many angles of this that I've already covered and I've already talked about, but there's one that I really want to nail home, or really want to drive home for you now, and it's sort of the ramifications of this. Because personally, I don't think we're talking enough about the perception this is creating. So if you go right now to your search engine of choice, right, and you search Surface Duo, Microsoft fails to deliver Android 11. Microsoft lets down Surface Duo owners. Microsoft has failed in its efforts. Microsoft has failed once again. Microsoft just gave buyers a reason to avoid the Duo. On and on and on. And look, I'm not saying these people shouldn't be writing these articles. They should, because this is important. This is holding Microsoft accountable for not delivering where they should have. And I get all the things that different people say about how Microsoft doesn't have a ton of people working on Duo and all these sorts of things. But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it's a terrible, terrible, terrible look. It looks like Microsoft just isn't really trying. You can say, well, but we've got such a small team working on Duo. But the easy response is, why? Do you not think Duo is worth having more people working on it than that? Do you not think it's worth investing more money than that? Do you just not care about Surface Duo? And if you don't care about Surface Duo, why, oh why, would I care about Surface Duo? Why would I buy this thing if it's not clear that you give a rat's behind about it? And that's a really big and important thing. If you don't feel like a company is committed to the product you're buying, you're not going to buy it. I'll give you a little example about this. The other day, we're looking at different mopping type vacuumy things for the house. My mom shows me over the holiday this Bissell Crosswave vacuum mopping thing. She demos it for me. Look how good it works. I'm like, wow, that's fantastic. I've been using a Swiffer and a mop and it's annoying. She says, no, buy one of these things. It's got this little roller in it. It's like cloth and it puts out cleaner and it literally scrubs your floor while it's vacuuming. Pretty neat. So my first thought is this is cool, but what's going to happen when Bissell discontinues it and I can't buy that roller anymore? I'm going to be forced to be cleaning my old roller for the rest of eternity, or I'm going to have to buy a new one. That fear of what happens if the company stops supporting the thing I just bought and I've wasted my money, that's a real concern to have. And it's a concern to have based on, I don't know, just how the world has always worked. The companies produce stuff and then they stop supporting them. And it feels like, even though it's not true, it is being supported, just very slowly, very slowly. It feels like it's not being supported. And the fear that I have here is this. Surface Duo, this team, they've been effectively allotted the funding approved to make 3 devices. Okay? They made one that has not been supported well at all. And because of that, when they made 2, I think it might have sold worse than the first one. The price went up, which is bad, even though this is a far superior device than the first one. I would be shocked if it sold any better than the first one, even though it's wildly improved, because so many people watched this and so many people read this and are like, why would I buy the second one? Are they dooming Surface Duo 3 if and when it does come out? And we'll talk about that in another video later this week, if Duo 3 is coming soon or not. Are they dooming Duo 3 to failure? And I feel like they are. I feel like the answer is absolutely yes. And they're going to have to crush, really, Duo 2 from here on. Duo 1's going to have to get supported. Duo 2's going to have to get supported. And they're going to have to turn the tide of perception leading in to Duo 3, because these news articles are not wrong and they're not going anywhere. And this is going to support all of the opinions of people that think Duo sucks, despite the fact that I don't think it does. I think Duo 2 in particular is very good. This is really bad news. IMO for Microsoft. And lastly, this is a rather odd news story that I keep seeing versions of posted all around the interwebs. So let's go here to the Daily Dot. Read this headline. I'm so angry, I'm so confused. TikToker says unknown Apple AirTag tracked her from car to bar to home. Now that's obviously a scary thing, right? That's a scary news story. So let's read through this here real quick. This is a TikToker, Erica Torres, received a notification on her iPhone saying that an unknown accessory was detected near her phone. She tried to get more information about the accessory and even tried to disable it. Her phone was unable to connect to server. She said based on some TikToks she'd seen, she already knew this was likely an AirTag. What we're talking about here is she's at the bar and maybe some nefarious individual, I would say likely a nefarious individual, this is a nefarious thing to do, perpetrated by a nefarious individual, sees her pull up in her car, gets out, they see her, and they think to themselves, I'm going to find out where she lives. So they take an Apple AirTag, which if you don't know what an AirTag is, I mean, I guess you're on a channel that doesn't really talk about Apple stuff. So I guess I should tell you what an AirTag is. It's this. It's this little disc, and it's a tracker, right? You're supposed to attach it to various things. So if you lose said thing, you can find it. And the way it works is it uses Apple's Find My network, I think is what it's called. Basically, you have an AirTag, and you put it someplace, and every time an iPhone walks by it, the iPhone will see it and will update that location. So then when you're like, where's my AirTag? And you look, it basically will tell you, hey, it was spotted here. And you can go there and find it. Then once you get close enough into range, it can connect to it and track it down. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. If I'm wrong about some detail, let me know in the comments, but I'm pretty sure basically that's how that works. So this person here on TikTok, someone affixed one of these to her vehicle so that they could then use their phone to see where that AirTag went and find her house. And crazily enough, this is not the only time I've seen this many times already. Like the same story. Someone put this on my car and tracked me. Well, that's scary. That's a scary thing, right? Like if you're a woman, this might sound, I don't think this sounds sexist, right? This is clearly not sexist, but like if you're a woman, there are a lot of predatory men out there. And that's like my wife, I would hate, that would be horrifying for her, you know? Like she'd be terrified, and rightfully so. Men are terrible. I'm sorry, from men to women for how horrible we are. I don't know what to tell you. So that's a scary thing. But what I'm seeing a lot from these news stories is something that I think is completely wrong. It's not wrong to be like, hey, this is really messed up and this shouldn't be happening. We need to figure out a way to fix this. But where people are going horribly wrong is they're blaming Apple for this. And I don't think they should be blaming Apple for this. In fact, they should be actually praising Apple in this situation. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to explain to you why I think this is the case. So there are lots of other trackers around, right? There's ones from Samsung. There's ones from, what's that other company? I literally own one of these. Tile. One's from Tile. But they don't notify you when you're near one like an iPhone would, right? So like, let's say I'm some werewolf of a man and I go buy some generic GPS-enabled tracker and I affix it to your car. I can track you home and you'll never know it was there. You'll have no idea. But with the Apple device, she at least knows it's there. Like, the moral of this story here, besides the fact that men are werewolves, is that she received a notification on her iPhone that it was there, and then she knew what it was and responded to it. Again, this is horrible. I'm not trying to say this isn't horrible. People are horrible. But at least the Apple version clued her in that this horrible thing was happening to her and that she was in physical danger. Now, something Apple can do better here, because they're not perfect in this situation, is the fact that all it says is that an unknown accessory has been found, right? It needs to tell you that it's an AirTag. It needs to tell you there's an AirTag with you. It can't just say unknown accessory. They need to be a bit clearer about this. But clearly, the capability is there to detect that there's an accessory. And if you're in the know, you'll know what it is. But Apple does need to make that more clear to keep people safer. But again, this is a step in the right direction. These trackers aren't going to go away. Like, I own 2 of them myself to find my keys and stuff when I lose them because my brain doesn't work very good. But at least Apple gives you some heads up. Samsung, Tile, this needs to be a thing that everyone who makes these things are doing. And honestly, it needs to be some sort of a requirement because this is clearly a safety issue for people. So guys, that's all the news I do have for you today. I hope you had a wonderful, fun, and safe New Year's celebration, if that is something that you care about. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. Thanks for helping me hit my goal of reaching 8,000 subscribers by the end of 2021. For 2022, I don't know what my goal is. A lot more subscribers. So thank you for joining me along the way, along this journey. I do appreciate it greatly. I'll see you in the next video, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.